Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of your favorite, at least I hope, blue collar podcast out there. This is the Dirty and Driven Podcast. My name is James Deviney. I am your host, and this is the show where we bring people to the blue collar world, teach them how to kick ass. Our goal here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hard-working people, and we're hoping to do that today by entertaining you. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, the talented Mr. Casey D.
How are you?
And we're here to talk your socks off.
Man, I've been burning up the new album from Wheeler Walker Jr.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, he's been getting all the buzz on that. Is there like a... I know we always talk about music. Is there a way... is there like a set time that a lot of artists release stuff, or is it just random? Because it seems like a lot of artists have released in the last few weeks.
Well, since you bring that up, that's, our topic, timing.
Timing,
It's
yeah.
all about timing.
Yeah.
You don't want to release something going up against whenever the Super Bowl's on at the same time, right?
Right.
Because they're going to be stealing all your numbers. So
Yeah.
hopefully you start talking about the Final Four bracket before the Final Four happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm hoping our band releases our album in the next couple weeks. We've got one song totally done, mastered, mixed, everything. Sounds freaking great. You heard it last week. And then I got two more yesterday in my email that the initial mix is done, and then now it's just making a couple small tweaks and they'll be done.
Well, that one that I heard last week, just for the short part, it was good.
Yeah, I'm excited for the whole thing. It's something else.
Yeah, that and then we can stop talking about it. That new Wheeler album, a little different, pretty cool though. It's called Ram, and so far my favorite song on it is called Sniffers Row. Y'all just got to check it out, man. I sent it to you, but I don't know if you listened to it or not.
I listened. You sent me a couple of them. I don't know. I listened to most of them. I think you sent me 3, and I know I listened to 2 of them.
Yeah.
I like the music videos though, like the one where he's like down in like a rock quarry or something. It's just all on construction equipment.
Yeah. Then he had one that he did like the Oliver Anthony or Anthony Oliver when he was in the woods. I can't remember what that one is, but it's pretty good.
Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yeah, but he did. It wasn't one
Wheeler
of those
Walker
spoofs, but he did the video. He even had the same resonator, the guitar.
Oh, he was just trying to look like.
But the song wasn't anything to do with Richmond. It was just.
Oh, it was just he was trying to mimic that vibe.
Yeah. It was pretty funny though.
Wheeler Walker Jr. is just an anomaly to me. I mean, just the way the things he sings about and like how big he is just kind of hilarious.
Well, here it's adult content. But, there's a niche for that, obviously, because I'm talking about it. But even back when, remember 2 Live Crew?
No.
2 Live Crew was big in maybe the early 90s. They were from Florida, a rap group, but they adult rapped. And, taboo or not, there's a niche for that. And then when you're doing stuff like that, but then you're doing you're throwing in just funny jokes inside of the humor.
Yeah.
That's Wheeler for you, or Steel Panther.
Yeah.
Are those people.
Yeah. You got to be a special kind of person to be able to pull it off. Because I feel like a lot of people try that, but they don't make it very far. I mean, because you can only listen to so much of it before you're like, okay.
Yeah. I was listening to it while I was mowing yesterday.
Yeah.
And throwing down some seed.
Throwing down some seed.
Some fescue.
Dude, I don't want to know what your mood music is.
No, fescue.
Oh, okay. That kind of seed.
Mm-hmm. I was sowing.
Yeah. Anyways, wanted to give a quick shout out. Housebird 6, we talked about him last week. Alex Schlegel, I think is how you say that name. He's the one who made that generous $100 tip jar donation to the show. So I appreciate that, brother. He's a cool dude. I've been DMing him a lot. It's a cool story. A lot of just cool dude, solid dude. Most of the people are, and I love getting to talk to the people in the DMs. It's getting harder just because we've been getting so many more lately. But it's really my favorite part about what we do is just getting to talk to everybody whenever they do DM us or they do support the show or whatever. I really enjoy hearing everybody's backstory. So, I mean, if you ever want to talk or, we still do the free sticker. If you want a sticker, then just DM us or email us the word sticker and we'll get you a free sticker mailed anywhere in the world. I just ask that when you do send me the word sticker, give me a little background about yourself. Let's hear what you do, where you're from, kind of just a little background. Doesn't have to be your whole life story, but a couple sentences on just kind of what you do. I love hearing that, man. It's because I care about the people that are listening to the show. I mean, truly, you know what I mean? And I care about your lives and I care to hear from you guys. So anyways, that was just shout out of the week there. Stay tuned on our Friday episodes. We got some more upcoming guests that I'm really excited about. Some really cool people. I know a lot of people have listened to the Tuesdays that don't listen to the Fridays, and a lot of people listen to the Fridays that don't listen to the Tuesdays. But if you're a usual listener of the Tuesdays, just know we got a couple whoppers coming down the pipe on Fridays. And we just had a good one, I thought.
Crikey.
Well. Old PETA.
Crikey.
PETA Cox. Crikey. Mate. On Friday, we kicked back and threw some shrimp on the bobby and had PETA Cox all the way from Australia, live and on air.
Surveyor.
It was cool.
I did my homework.
Yeah. You listened to the intro?
Yeah. Got it for the download number.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good show, so I enjoyed that one. Anyways, that's all I got on all that stuff. You busted out the what is the name of your Jeep again?
Jeep Kaiser.
I don't know why that name slipped my mind.
M715 5/4 ton.
What year is it?
68.
Cruising down the street in my 6.8.
Yeah. Got her purring like a kitten.
That thing's freaking sweet. That old Jeep Kaiser. Not the most comfortable vehicle in the world, but
Super
it's
rigid,
not
man.
about. It's not about comfort.
No.
It's not about miles per gallon. It's about smiles per gallon.
Yeah, that road that goes by the refinery, Waverly.
Yeah.
Kind of by size in that area. Mm-hmm. Every 200 or 300 foot, they got them damn bumps in the road. I don't know if it's from utilities that were ran, then they put asphalt back over it, but it's like, a speed bump.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm only going like 35 in that thing.
I know where you're talking about. I drove that road in your Jeep.
Yeah.
And it's dude, last year.
Anybody that knows any vehicles for suspension wise, and this is a 5/4 ton, so, a ton and a quarter load that it can haul. So it's got super stiff suspension.
Yeah.
And dude, you hit that. I felt like I was in an excavator. I was talking the other day about those, those heavy equipment guys that operate equipment that have zero suspension.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like that because, man, when you hit those bumps, man, it rattles your vertebrae when you hit it.
You damn near need an air ride in that thing. My biggest problem was like, and I'm sure you probably have it too, is like you almost have to be short to drive that thing.
Well, okay, and there's a couple design issues that I've thought about. I have ideas for it, but then again, you don't want to change the original look of it.
Yeah.
But ideally, the windows to where you could see out would be about 3 inches higher. That it would actually match the line of it would match the line of the windshield. That way you could look out.
Does your head hit the ceiling when the top is on it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's another deal too. It's got like a racing seat in there, which the racing seat sits just high enough to where your leg is comfortable.
Yeah.
But ideally, the seat would be shorter so you could see out the side window, or the window would be taller.
Yeah.
But then also the original wheel that's in there, that should have been in there, would be almost a regular size steering wheel. Mm-hmm. And if you're a decent sized guy like me, I'm just decent. I'm not like I'm a big dude. A decent sized steering wheel, your knees would be hit. So that's why it's got one of them racing steering wheels in there, a small one.
Yeah.
That way you have some leg room. So there's ideas behind it, but dude, I'm at beggars can't be choosers. I love that thing, man.
Yeah, it's a sweet ride.
Well, it's so easy to work on. I mean, I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I'm learning.
Do you use certified wrenches when you
no shit. I'm learning, man. And, if there was something to learn on to give you some confidence, it'd be that, because there's so much room in there, so simple to get around. Google has been my friend, or YouTube, M715 Zone. Shout out to those guys if you're listening. Like the M715zone.com guys are listening.
Turns out they're huge fans of the show. They're like, holy shit, dude.
All the Jeep Kaiser forums out there that are listening,
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's...
Speaking of trucks, dude, I was up at what?
Oh, and one final thing on that is one design change I do want to do with it is the fixed window that's just in front of the side windows that you can roll down.
Yeah.
I want to make that a winged vent window.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Like the old school ones where you can get some airflow in.
Oh, yeah. Those are nice, man. You get going down the road. Dude, I wish cars still had wing vents in them.
Yeah.
Like, my buddy Nick, the OG co-host of this podcast, he had a 74 Bronco. Thing was sweet. But it had the wing vents, and you get going down the road, man, you open that thing up, it didn't matter how hot it was outside. It felt so nice. Like, I wish you still had them, like, to where it's not just like my truck now. And I don't know, trucks and cars anymore, I feel like are not designed to have the window down. Like, if I opened up the windows in that 95 Nissan I sold, like, I could have papers in the seat next to me and they wouldn't be blowing all over the place. Or if you get in like an old Chevelle Camaro, something, same kind of thing. But dude, like my truck, if I roll down the window, just the way it's shaped, it just beats the shit out of you. Like, you can't just drive around town comfortably with your windows down.
How does it beat the shit out of you?
It's just the way the wind hits you. It's just,
does it vibrate?
I don't think it vibrates, but...
Because a lot of times that'll do that with vehicles, like especially the newer ones. They'll vibrate if you only have one window down, but if you crack one on the opposite side or whatever.
No, it's not that deal.
Oh.
I know what you're talking about there. That's like the pressure deal. This
you got to equalize the pressure.
It's just the way the wind hits you. It just beats you up, and like if you have any sort of paper or anything like in the truck, it's just blowing all over. It's just not comfortable to drive around with the windows down. Like, it's not I don't know. They just didn't work it into the design.
Sons of bitches.
Anyways, we'll move on to our next topic here.
And one other thing, I don't think you'll touch on it, but we spoke about it before we recorded, I think the last or the previous, before the last, the double last. We were kind of looking at numbers and listeners and throughout where they listen to across the world.
Yeah.
And we found a gap in our listeners that we need to at least get one number in there.
Dude, what's up in Mississippi?
Yeah.
We've got all 49 states, healthy numbers in every state, except Mississippi. 0, zilch, none. I don't know if it's just they don't have internet yet. And that could be. I mean, Mississippi might not have internet yet. They might not have made it that far.
Could be that, or is it the IP address? What if their IP address isn't a Mississippi? What if they are in Mississippi, but their address for where they're listening is an adjoining state?
That's over my head.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever driven through Mississippi, there's not much there.
So here's a little ask. We're going to ask our listeners. If you have a friend out there, somebody that you know, an acquaintance that's in Mississippi,
send it to them.
Yeah.
They may not have internet. They might still be on flip phones in Mississippi. They might still be talking with 2 cans and a string. I don't know. I just don't know. There's a void. So if you're from Mississippi, let us know.
Definitely get a shout out on the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our first Mississippi listener, hit us up and we'll shout you out. All right, moving on. Although it is surprising, dude, Oklahoma is number 4. Like, we are barely, like, we're not even top 3, man. What the hell's up with that, Oklahoma?
It's all right.
We're like, we are Oklahoma tourism, man. We bring more tourists to this state than the Chamber of Commerce.
You up the numbers. I mean, we don't have as many electorates in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's it. I do have something cool I want to touch on, just as far as like local people that have made a big impact in our world and industry, but that's kind of coming up next. I'm kind of just trying to run through a few quick bullet points and then we're going to dive into the topic. But I was up at Wilkins Truck Chrome off I-35. If you're a truck driver and you've ever driven through Oklahoma, you probably know what I'm talking about. Legendary business. They have a semi that's like put on its like a tractor trailer that they've put up standing upright, like it's like a cab over that's on its nose and it's upright like a statue. Looks like a water tower or something like that.
It says "We Fix Trucks."
Yeah, We Fix Trucks and Wilkins Truck Chrome. I mean, just right there at the Fountain Road exit for Tonkawa. Legendary freaking place, man. Well, yesterday, and it's actually going on today too, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it up there. They had their annual bare knuckle truck chrome show, they call it. And dude, the prettiest trucks in the country come to that show, man. I mean, I drove through there yesterday. I stopped at the gas station. I just did a quick lap around. I didn't get to see all the trucks, but they had like the Smokey and the Bandit truck. If you saw that, I posted on our story. They just had some beautiful trucks, beautiful interiors, just some cool shit, man. Some awesome truckers over there. So I had a lot of fun there. I put a deal on our story just seeing if anybody was around the area, since that is literally 10 minutes from our studio. Didn't get any bites from the listeners or the followers or anything like that. But anyways, if you're a truck driver, that might be an event that interests you for next year. Pretty awesome event, man. There's just hundreds of beautiful trucks there.
What was the guy's name in the movie Smokey and the Bandit that drove that semi?
The Snowman?
Yeah.
Jerry Reed?
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you talking about a talent.
Yeah.
Man, you ever heard that guy pick and sing?
Oh, yeah. Fuck. He was the guitar man.
Yeah. Amos Moses was a Cajun.
Yeah, dude. He's talented. I've actually got a hat like the one he was wearing in the movie, the old Cat Diesel Power. Yeah, that short brim, just trucker hat. Yeah. I used to wear it all the time.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a sweet hat. But yeah, dude, it was sweet. I mean, seeing that truck, like, I don't know if it was the OG, like, I don't know if it was the truck, but it looked like it. And it was like, it had the hand painted trailer with that same mural on it. And, maybe it's the real one, maybe it's not. I asked around and some people told me that it was, but also I just don't know.
Dude, I got some friends of mine. They're called the Bays Brothers. They're a honky tonk band. Super great friends. They're out of somewhere down there. Kind of that way. But
Casey pointed east.
Southeast. Chandler, maybe Chandler. That feels right. But they've got Willie Nelson's old tour bus. I think the Honeysuckle Rose bus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Cool. Yeah. These guys, such great dudes. I met them at Webb's. They were playing there, and I ended up having them come and play for my dad's 60th surprise birthday party at the Moose. They're just...
Moose.
These guys are kick ass, but they play gigs kind of all around. Little 2-man group. They're badass. You got to hear them.
How did you get to that from a truckers rally?
Because you were talking about the truck that was in
you went from truck to Jerry Reed to that. Okay.
Well, you're talking about that famous truck, the truck that was in the movie.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of my good friends that they'll drive this tour bus. It's Willie Nelson's tour bus.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. That blanked out in my head. Yeah, dude, that's cool. Willie Nelson's tour bus.
It's got the big mural on the side, like the big like Western scene or something. Okay.
I guess I haven't seen it.
I'll find it sometime and send it to you. It's pretty
I'll
cool.
have to look it up. That's cool, man. Yeah, and I feel like there were some others like that. There was a tour bus that kind of looked like that at this trucker rally that was from Denton, Texas. I don't know what the significance of it was. I didn't talk to the people. I didn't have a lot of time there. I probably spent 30 minutes there total. But it was just starting whenever I was there too. Like today, it's in full swing, just big old trucker rally. They're all drinking beers and hanging out. And I'm sure later they're going to do like a little parade around Tonkawa. So cool deal. Had fun there.
I wonder if any lot lizards showed up for that event.
I don't know.
Shout out to all you lot lizards out there.
All you lot lizards.
I mean, we can't forget about them. You know what I mean?
They're a vital part of our industry, aren't they?
I think they just need to outright legalize that shit. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there were some lot lizards there. I mean, I saw a lot of people there, sketchy and unsketchy. I mean, they're all camping out there, so I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, if it's a trucker rally, it's probably also a lot lizard rally.
That's a prime spot to make some dinero.
These are badass trucks, though. These weren't just your run of the mill shit can trucks that just decided to park in it. It's like, whenever you go to a car show sometimes and like you have like some nice cars, then you have like a guy with a freaking piece of shit Honda Civic that's just got a really big loud engine in it.
Oh yeah.
There was none of that.
He's got the old exhaust unhooked from his muffler, so it's nice and loud.
Yeah, and he
sounds like a weed eater.
He thinks he's really badass, but like everybody's like, dude, why is this guy here? There was none of that. I mean, these were all pristine looking trucks, man. Just really cool. Anyways, enough on that. They're not a sponsor or anything. I went to the event and just wanted to say shout out to all our truckers out there. We love you. We're thinking about you. We couldn't do this job, this world without you. I'm gonna post some pictures from that. I got two other little things I want to kind of hit on, and then we'll get into our topic. One, dude, did you know that I learned this? A guy from Ponca City is the one who was the first major company to start giving his employees like benefits and like paying them well and all that. Like he was like the OG for like taking care of your employees.
I didn't know that.
It was E.W. Marland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Marland Oil's company, Marland Oil's company became Conoco, which became ConocoPhillips.
Continental, Marland Oil.
The whole thing. But, yeah, no, he was the OG. Like, he, I went on, I'm in a leadership class, and that was a deal. We were going around doing kind of history day, all that. And, we learned a lot about him, obviously, because he's a very major part of our history. But whenever they said he basically wrote the book for employee benefits, he was the first major employer to give health insurance, to give dental insurance. To his thing was, I want to pay my employees a saving wage, not an earning wage. He bought a bank so that way he could finance employees' houses for 6%.
Yeah, and still make money off of his employees. I mean, he's doing a good deal, but he's still making money, right?
Well, I mean, he owns a bank, but okay, if interest rates are 12%, but he's charging his employees only 6% interest.
We're the government. We're here to help.
I mean, that's still pretty freaking good, man.
No, dude, it's awesome, man.
I mean, that's really cool. And just some of the stuff he did, like he just poured it, like he had a golf course, like that anybody could go play at for free.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have clubs, they just give you some to use.
Wasn't the golf course kind of like pretty much where we're sitting? It was somewhere.
No, it was it was close. It was right in front of the Grand Home. So it was probably about a mile down the road.
Yeah, it's crazy just to think about how far things have come. If you look at the old pictures to where there was nothing like where we're sitting,
Yeah. Dude, did you know that we used to have a PBR brewery here in town?
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that like before Prohibition, Pabst's like kind of their deal was they would go to all these small towns and they'd put a brewery in downtown. So where the Boomerang is, you know how it's got like a 45-degree slant?
Yeah.
If you go through like other downtowns, like on the corner lots, instead of them being 90, if it's a 45-degree, odds are pretty good that was a PBR brewery.
Huh.
I've always been a Pabst fan.
Did they trademark the 45-degree entrance?
I doubt it. I don't know. But that was pre-Prohibition. Then Prohibition came along, and I think they closed most of their breweries, obviously. But they was a Pabst Blue Ribbon, the original microbrewery.
And when was Prohibition?
Shit, dude. What, the 20s, 30s?
There you go.
It was the 30s, wasn't it?
I think it was the 20s.
I think it kind of coincided with the Great Depression, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe the tail end of that.
The Dust Bowl, we could throw out a bunch of stuff.
That was pretty cool, man. I just thought it was neat that like we talk about taking care of your people, giving back to them, investing in your employees, and then like the guy who now obviously other people would have come around and done it, but he was like the first global international company to like do that. So I was like, that's pretty freaking cool, man, that happened. That kind of started right here in little old Ponca City.
Then he ended up marrying his adopted daughter.
That was weird.
We just gave a genuine good shout out that we had to wrap it up with that.
You always hear about like these major like guys like that, and then like there's always something weird about him, but his deal was like he had his original wife and then they adopted her niece, and then after his wife died, they nullified the adoption and then he married her.
Hey.
I don't know, man. That's a weird deal.
Well, they say a lot of them people who have a ton of money, you can only buy so much. This is no joke. And you have anything and everything that you want, that you the way you get your kinks off might start getting just a little different. And that might have been one of the deals.
Yeah. We were kind of talking about that with one of the guys that was in my group. And He's like, yeah, man, there's some rich people that like, they're normal. They seem cool whenever they run their company. They're very competent, very smart, great leaders. And he goes, but you know, they go home at night and they wear their wife's clothes around the house.
I'm telling you, man, who knows what goes on behind closed doors?
Yeah. You never know. But
man, one quick little deal. My wife's been locked in on this guy. His name is Alex Rosen, Rosen. He's a big old dude. He's only like 23 years old. But he does kind of, you know, remember the Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator guy? Hey, you know, they'd be set up inside of a house. Hey, why don't you come on in, take a seat, you know, and hey, I'll be back in a second. Then the guy sits down and Chris Hansen comes out and busts them for, you know, trying to, I know this is kind of off deal, but I didn't know how prevalent the underage child crap that goes on is.
Yeah.
But this Alex Rosen dude, if you look at him, and look at his stuff. It's over on Rumble because a lot of YouTube stuff won't do it. This guy is doing the Lord's work. Holy moly. He's from Houston, Texas. He goes all over the U.S. and does at least probably 2 or 3 or 4. He does a lot of live feeds of bus to where he goes and he meets people that are looking to husband and wives,
catfishing, basically.
Yeah. And they'll be there to meet the 13-year-old or the 8-year-old, and he'll have all the transcripts, all the photos.
It's terrifying.
Dude, he busts 2 or 3 a day, and he does a lot of live stuff. Wow. And he'll do live stuff to where he goes, hey, I'll tell you what, if you do a $10 donation right now, I'll let you cuss this guy out live on the deal, because the guys are just sitting there because they're just, and Alex gets them to where they're talking, they're pretty much busted. And then the people will give their donations. All right, I got a $10 donation. Go ahead. And the guy's sitting there in his bed, you know, the creep. You know what? You're a piece of shit, man. If I was all right, man. Hey, thanks for the $10 donation. Anyway, dude, back to this.
The scariest part of all that is it's normal seeming people,
dude.
But behind closed doors, it's some fucked up stuff.
But
so this I know 2 people that literally a guy that I used to work with. I went to work every day. He was a little out there, but he was overall pretty nice guy, cool to work with. Didn't have any qualms with him. At one point in time, he had a really good job at an energy company in Oklahoma City, making good money. And but then he got catfished, or whatever you want to call it, with a supposed 13-year-old girl, and he got arrested and taken to prison. And he was in prison. I think he got out a couple of years ago, or a couple months ago. I mean, because I know his brother. I played rugby with his brother, and yeah, dude, he spent a few years in prison. Now they don't have any evidence that he ever touched or hurt a child or anything like that. But I mean, the intent was there.
Yeah,
and that's terrifying. And in fact, somebody else I know, they just had a coworker get arrested because this dude was like catfishing with like this mom, and she had 2 daughters. I mean, fake mom and 2 daughters.
Yeah.
In Virginia. And a normal dude, everybody was like, dude, I cannot, like, he was a cool, normal dude, just another guy I worked with. And he called her Mama Bear and her 2 cubs. And like, I couldn't even read it. Like, people were trying to like show me like the FBI documents of like messages they exchanged back and forth. But it was basically, he was going there to fuck this mom and her 9 and 13-year-old daughters. And like the mom sounded like she was into it and stuff like that. And then, you know, he flew all the way to Virginia. And then as soon as he got off the plane, they arrested him.
Yeah.
People like that need to rot in hell, dude. I mean, people like that should be, I'm not trying to turn this podcast into that, but it's,
no, it's not. But the Marlon Liddy deal made me think of that, because I mean, it's going on right now. And what he does is he gets enough information. You don't have to read the Miranda rights to these people, because he's got everything right there. They're admitting everything. He's got their phone. He has everything perfectly set up to where a lot of times he'll let law enforcement know that he's coming in town.
Yeah.
But then, while he's talking, whenever he says, you know what sounds good right now? Fried pickles sounds pretty good. That's his code word for his guy to get a hold of the police and have them come. Then he shows all the information to the police, and the police. Then he does updates on them getting, you know, charged and sentenced. It's not just
it's not just like this is a fake YouTube thing.
No, dude, it's legit. He is.
That's cool, man.
If there was ever a thing called the Lord's work, which I don't know what that is, this guy's doing it, man.
That's
and
cool,
he's only
man.
like 23 or 24, but he is a stud.
Yeah.
But when he goes and confronts these people, he's kind of intimidating. He was going to play college football, but he got hurt. He's 6'4". He's probably over 300 pounds now, so he's a big menacing dude. But he's real good at keeping the conversation going, getting people to open up.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, and what's it's just terrifying to think that, but like it just shows how degraded the mental health of our society is, man.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, I mean, people come to work and they seem normal, cool, funny, but then they go home and they beat their wives, or they go home and they're just absolute assholes. They go home and they're, predators. I mean, they're trying to, they're hooking up with hookers, or they're trying to, rape children. I mean, it's terrifying stuff that we don't even know about. And it just shows the poorness of the mental health of our society, that people have succumbed so low on their moral standards that they are willing to do this stuff.
What gets me is how prevalent it seems to be just with this one guy doing this, that's exposing this. And still, there's no media or any type of coverage whatsoever from mainstream media or YouTube or those places that actually, show that this stuff goes on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my deal on that. I mean, I know it's kind of sidetracking, but
it's good to touch on that stuff every now and then, because I don't think people realize it's going on. So
Alex Rosen, he's got a couple different sides, but pretty kick-ass stuff.
Yeah, cool. Last thing I want to talk about, because I've had some people message me about it, was a couple asphalt projects I've been working on that are pretty, I would say, revolutionary. I don't know, revolutionary is not the right word, but pretty high tech in the world of asphalt paving. So I've had a lot of fun with it. One of them I've briefly talked about on the show, but we just finished up the project this last week. So it's called Stone Matrix Asphalt, and we laid it on I-35 over the US 60 bridge. Pretty short stretch, more of a test strip than anything. Right here, just just west of us on, like I said, I-35 and 60. So we laid Stone Matrix Asphalt, which is pretty cool. It has fly ash in it, which fly ash is the byproduct of burning coal. A lot of concrete guys put it in concrete. Not a lot of asphalt guys have put it in asphalt. As far as we know, we're the only ones in the state who have done that where I work. And probably one of the few in the country. We haven't found anybody who's necessarily been putting it in. I've read a couple small reports about people kind of trying it, but I haven't seen anything major. So it's a pretty cool deal. It's supposed to be a really strong asphalt, act like concrete. So it's a pain in the ass to lay. If you ask the guys in if you ask like the people who were kind of pushing the buttons on the project, how it was, oh yeah, awesome project, stuff like that. You ask the guys in the field and they're like, I hope I never see that shit again.
Is that something over time, obviously with techniques, that they'll get to where they can handle it and lay it?
Maybe. It's just super sticky.
It's
like trying to lay Laffy Taffy, dude. It's very sticky, very oily. But it was a cool project. It was really interesting to be on. Stuff's hard as a rock, so I'm curious to see how it performs long term. And then on top of that, we put what's called a permeable friction course over top, which has 18% air voids in it, which typically you have 3-4%, low air voids. But this has 18% because it's designed, and I took some videos that I'm going to post, like it'll rain and water will just drain through that. So that way, if you're driving behind a semi on that road, it's not spraying your windshield, or you're not hydroplaning.
Yeah.
Or if it ruts a little bit, you're not driving through that water-filled wheel rut.
Dude, there's nothing worse, especially at nighttime, being behind a semi.
Yeah.
And then trying to, they're going slow enough to where, you got to pass them, and shit, that little window of trying to pass when that shit's spraying.
Well, they're just spraying you. There's water in the road. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove to St. Louis a few months ago, and like going down I-40, dude, was terrifying. Because for one, they don't really have shoulders going down I-40. And it was raining. It was typically that's a 7-hour drive, and Victoria and I made it in like 8.5. I mean, it just poured rain. We were in her car, not my truck, so it was even worse. Just getting sprayed, and like even trying to pass, like even though it's a 4-lane highway, you're trying to pass and it's just spraying you, and
you're white knuckling.
Yeah, dude, it's scary. It was scary.
That
Middle
is so
of the night.
exhausting. a white knuckle drive, you're talking about by the time you get done with those drives like that, how exhausted you are.
Yeah.
Just from tensed up.
Yeah.
Man.
So this kind of pavement kind of helps with that. So it was cool. It was really cool to be involved on that project.
So does the water, this is a genuine quote, so does it go all the way through the asphalt down into the base then out, or does it?
Well, no. So we laid the stone matrix asphalt first, and that one is sealed. So that one's, the water drains on it.
Okay.
Most asphalts, it does. It's a dense graded mix, meaning it's not open. So you lay that down first, and that's kind of your structure. And then you lay this permeable friction course, a PFC,
right?
And it's open graded, so it drains. It's only about 1.25 inches thick, so that water drains down that 1.25 inches onto the other pavement,
yes,
then from there it just drains off onto the shoulder.
Kind of like grading almost.
What do you mean?
Like grading, as in if you had grading above a drainage area to where water can drain through it, then out.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is.
That's awesome.
It's like a slope, so it was really cool to be a part of that. And then I'm actually on another one. One of the truck drivers I work with asked me the other day, said, "Boy, we sure seem to be doing a lot of experimental, pioneering type stuff lately," and which they're kind of over it. But he goes, "But this other one is designed to kind of help the state of Oklahoma save money, and this is one of 4 jobs they've got going right now with this on there, but it's called a balance mix design, meaning we're trying to design this based on the gradations." Rather than, so they've been doing volume. I'm not going to go too into the weeds here because it gets pretty intense, but they've been doing volumetric testing, which basically means like you're only allowed to put this percentage of this rock, this percentage of that rock based on volume. Okay. And then now it's based on performance. So they look at a gradation curve and they want it to be a nice, even flow. Like it looks uniform. They want it to be uniformed. So they're going to allow like recycled asphalt in the cap or the surface course that you actually drive on. Typically that's only allowed on the shoulders or in the base course, meaning the course underneath the surface course. So this is new. They're letting you put up to 25% recycled asphalt, which asphalt's the number 1 recycled material in the world, to help save money, but also it's supposed to help make just a better mix. So we're one of the first ones in the state to be experimenting with that. Other states do it. Not all the states do it, but there are a lot of states that have already started putting it in the surface. But it's, I don't know, just been a cool couple projects to be a part of.
What all is involved with recycling asphalt aside from just grinding it up and scooping it up and what else do you do to it to recycle it? Do you just get it down to a...
That's literally it. You grind it. You take a milling machine.
Right.
You mill it up.
Get it down to a certain size probably.
Yeah. You mill it and then you screen it.
But then that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now that's your aggregate.
Good. So then...
and it's one of the most uniform materials you get. Like for us, it's the most consistent material we have.
So cost-wise, it's pretty much... You're going to have to you're going to have to scrape up the asphalt anyway to lay new, right?
You're getting paid. Yeah, you mill it up. So you're getting paid to remove it. So, I mean, and which like when you bid a job, typically if you're getting the millings, you might give them a little discount back. Right. You know what I mean? But overall, you're basically getting a material. You're getting paid to take this material. Now, sometimes the contracts are that the owner, whoever the owner is, whether it be the state, the county, or the city, or whoever you're working for, they may want the millings.
Right.
So that might be the deal. Sometimes you're too far away from like your yard or something to haul them. So you might sell them to local farmers or something like that. If you're in a rural area, we do that a lot. But overall, you're getting a very you're basically getting a material and all you're paying for is trucking.
Yep.
Is what it is. And really the owner's paying for that trucking because he bid into the job. So if you can take that material then and put it into, you screen it down to whatever size it is. In our case, we use a 3/4 inch. And then we put it back into the asphalt mix as a 3/4 inch rock with a little bit of oil on it. So you're saving on new rock and now you don't have to put as much virgin oil in. So it offers a pretty big cost saving. And that old oil that's already on there has oxidized over the years, and it's a very hard oil. So it actually gets harder over time and stronger. So whenever you introduce that in with the virgin oil, it makes for a very strong oil.
That oil sounds like me.
Yeah. Harder over time. Should that be Viagra's slogan? Viagra daily vitamins, harder over time.
Over time to an extent.
Instead of just like Viagra nighttime pills, be like Viagra daily vitamins. It's just like a smaller dose of Viagra, harder over time. So anyways, that was my nerdy little rant on asphalt. I just had to get that out. People have been, not a lot, but a few people have been hitting me up about it. So I just wanted to talk about it. What?
Break for a second.
Oh, all right. We're going to take a break, and then we are going to get into our topic. And we're back after that short little break.
How are you?
The old landlord came knocking, and we had to have a talk because he had some stuff in his part of the office that he needed fixed. So we went to look at it.
The damn furries got him.
Dude.
That's funny. We were talking about that the other day, and then that's.
So, if you're new to the show or you haven't caught it or whatever, so we're our studio is upstairs of a law firm, my dad's law firm to be exact. We are rent paying citizens. So I don't think we're just some bums in here on daddy's money. But anyways, so their portion of the office, very nice. Downstairs, nice furniture. As you would imagine a large law firm would look. Well, there's this old tan couch, which is kind of a ratty looking couch anyways, really. But, I mean, comfortable, but probably new in the 70s. But
definitely broke in.
Somebody had, yes, definitely broke in. Probably even a couple weird stains. I'm not going to ask. But there was somebody had come in, made a little art on there. And there was a picture of a fox. And it said, "I am a furry." So we were making fun of the furries a couple weeks ago on the show. So they came back to with the vengeance.
Yeah, they scratched it into the leather of the couch. So
yeah, that kind of sucks, dude. I bet that was a $high couch when it was new.
Yeah,
I mean, it was very, very plush.
Yeah,
I sat on it. Anyways, that's I don't know. That's where we broke.
And it said samurai Samari was here.
I thought it said samurai.
Yeah, but it didn't have a
samurai
U.
was spelled wrong or Samari was spelled right.
Samari was here. So I don't know if that was the person that went by Samari or if they're trying to, plant it on somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. God dang Samari.
Yeah.
Those god dang samurais. Okay, well, let's dive into our topic, man. So this is the third week in a row we've said we were going to talk about this, but we're actually going to do it today. So we're talking about timing. What does that mean exactly? Well, Casey actually told me a couple weeks ago he wanted to talk about this topic, but also we had one of you guys reach out and say, "Hey, man, I would love to hear you guys' breakdown on timing as far as like quitting your job goes." So we're going to talk about that, leaving an employer, quitting a job, starting your own business, when it's time to fire somebody. So we're just going to kind of talk about that whole timing, at least from a either personal perspective for you or from a people perspective if you are the manager, leader, owner. We're going to talk about it from a couple different perspectives. So first of all, let's just talk about timing for quitting your job. I think that's very relevant for a lot of people. I think we always hear the grass is greener on the other side. We always think that. So when do you decide, is the grass greener? I guess that's up to timing, up to discretion, all that good stuff. So have you ever had to quit a job, Casey, that was kind of hard for you to quit?
Yes. Yeah, it was before I got on with the energy company here. I was back to doing framing houses. I was doing a big remodel, actually add-on out there by the lake out at Stone Ridge Edition. It was like an over $500,000 add-on. I really, I don't know about love, but my boss, great dude, old Fleming Construction.
Yeah.
Great dude. I love the guys that I work with. I mean, I just enjoy construction, framing, working with my hands, all that good stuff. We ended up doing a remodel out to where I currently work now. And my good friend now that I kind of knew back then hit me up about potentially getting a job out there, which everybody knows in Ponca City that those jobs out there, when it comes to it, it's probably within the top 5, if not top 3, if not top best job you can get.
Yeah. I mean, but it's the biggest employer for sure.
Benefits, the whole 9, retirement, just anything and everything you can imagine. That's where you go to live a nice life here in Ponca City.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I know I did a little backstory on it, but to answer your question, I enjoyed where I worked, and I wasn't thinking future-wise. Before, I wasn't really thinking future-wise what would benefit me and my wife and my family's future. I told my wife about it, and we talked, and she's like, you should really do this, because what if you got hurt framing? There's really not. And then we talked, we discussed. Finally, I decided, yes, I was going to accept that job. I ended up talking with my current boss, which I might have mentioned this to you before.
Yeah, you talked about it. Didn't you just start working for him though?
No. Oh no. Okay. No. We had done quite a few things. Great dude, but it was very. I ended up letting him know that, hey, dude, I got this other opportunity. I left on good terms, as in, man, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I feel bad, but man, I've got this opportunity for me and my family. And he said the best thing that I even quote to today, I don't know if I can quote it right, but when I let him know I was quitting, I was waiting for his response face to face. And he said, Casey, he goes, I'm happy for you. He goes, you know what's best for you and your family. He goes, I totally support what you're doing. And just know if things don't work out, you'll always have a spot back here with me.
That's cool.
And dude, I mean, it was the biggest relief in the world, but yes, that was my long-winded deal about having to quit a job.
Yeah.
At least for opportunity wise.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good opportunity. How long did you think about that?
I mean, it was a few days deal, but like anything, it's a wait whenever you're nervous and the anxiety hits and your mind does tricks on you, as in.
Well, and then how long did you keep working for him after you told him you were leaving? Did you just customary 2 weeks or?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks, but it wasn't like it was a 2 weeks notice, because the paperwork and all the gears had to start turning at my new job in order to get my foot in the, hey, I'll stay with you until I have to start showing up over there. Hey man, you're welcome as long as you want,
Yeah. And that's a cool deal like that. I mean, sometimes I think that it's a no-brainer. Like, obviously, those are the jobs like that you're talking about, where I really think it crafts you to be ready for these bigger jobs, which is good and bad for the little guy like that, But sometimes you have those just cool jobs, cool relationships where, you have a great boss, you really like working there, but you know that ultimately it's not best for you. But then there's times where you go work for big companies or whatever, and they got the benefits and they got the pay and they've got, on paper, it's a good job, but you don't like working there and you decide the grass might be greener somewhere else. Timing is an interesting one, especially if you're like a key guy or key person. I think that a lot of times in our heads, we start to say, man, this place couldn't run without me. Or man, I'm going to put this guy in such a bind if I do this. But I think as long as you do like what you did, you're cordial, you're honest, you're upfront. Hey man, this is just a really good opportunity. No one's ever going to be mad at you for that.
Now, like I said, you know what's best for your situation.
Yeah.
Your household, your family, what's best.
Yeah.
So being a boss on the other side of it, you could say, well, no, you should. No, the person who is involved, the person that's doing the quitting or, potential hire, that they know what's best.
Yeah. And I think that what you really have to look at before you leave one place for another is, am I really going to like this? I think you really have to ask that good, because if you have a job that you're happy at, you are either leaving because it's a far better opportunity or for other personal reasons for the most part. So like it'd have to be a really good opportunity. Like, you probably wouldn't have left that job if it was $1 raise somewhere else. And if you're that type of person who leaves somewhere for $1 raise, but you always hear people talk about that for like, oh man, we'll get somebody that'll leave because they'll get 50-cent raise elsewhere. But I don't think that's true. I think that if they're leaving because of such a minuscule amount of money, like $1 or even $2, and they're not even talking to you about it, that probably means you have issues. But that's not really our topic today. But if you are that employee, you have to really look and say, is this a good opportunity for me? If you like your job now and then it's a far better opportunity, you just have to say, is this going to be right for me? Do your research, do your homework, and then say, yeah, okay, I think the time's right. This is a good opportunity for me to make this switch. Now, let's look at the opposite end of that same spectrum. You hate your job. And the only reason you're still there is because it's a paycheck. It is good money. So the example that one of our listeners sent in was he's a mechanic. And he recently left his job, and now it's been several weeks since he left his job. But at the time, whenever we first started talking about it, he had put his 2 weeks in. But he was like, I don't dislike this place. It's just I don't love coming here either. It's just not my favorite. Well, part of his deal was, just he just wasn't happy there, and so he wanted to try somewhere else. Now this is where I think people need to really look at timing on things, because there's times where you have to stick it out and just push through the bullshit and say, is this just a phase where I'm just unhappy for a couple of weeks, or am I truly unhappy here and need to look for another job? That's something you have to settle in your own head. But I think that before you can really know if it's the right timing, maybe talk to your boss about why you're unhappy. Talk to him about some other opportunities you're looking at, and just say, hey man, this is why I'm thinking about leaving you guys. Or if it's just you have a lot of coworkers you don't like being around, that might be it too. But as far as timing to actually quit that job, you probably want to have something else lined up already before you put your 2 weeks in. Because I've seen people do this. I had a renter who did this. She quit her job because she was unhappy, and then she couldn't pay rent. So, it's good to have something else lined up, looked at, ready to go. So as far as timing goes, you have to look at your outside situation. It's not just, I don't want to go to work anymore. If you're that kind of person who you're just like, I don't want to go to work anymore, and you stop showing up, well, you're probably going to remain unhappy because you can't even keep the promises that you've made. So, look around, find something else, do your interviews, do your stuff. Even if you are like honest with your employer and be like, hey, I'm not going to lie, dude, I've kind of been poking around at other jobs. You might have an asshole boss, but if you have something that seems pretty promising, then that might be the time to just say, hey man, I've been looking around at other jobs. Here's why. Here's what I'm leaving, dude. Here's my 2 weeks. And then once you kind of have something set up, yeah, go for it. I don't know. You got anything to add on that?
Whether if you're talking about rolling up, quitting jobs, whether it's good time or a bad time, if you do have something lined up, like we said before, the best time to look for a job is when you currently have one.
Yeah.
Compared to when you don't.
Yeah.
But I am confident all of our able-bodied listeners, obviously they hopefully get some value out of what we talk about. I'm confident that if for some reason one of our listeners lost their job or quit and didn't have something lined up, I guarantee you that same damn day they could go right down the street to a construction site or walk into a store anywhere, whether it's construction, grocery store, whatever, literally walk in and kind of like I've mentioned before, find out who the store manager is or the superintendent on the construction site, introduce yourself, look them in the eye, shake their hand, not shake them, but
shake them. Yeah. Give me a job, you fucking twat.
Yeah, seriously, shake their hand and let them know if you do have skills or if you want to do the entry level job. I guarantee you within 2 or 3 interactions, you would have a job right then and there.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is I am confident that whether you quit with a job lined up or a not job lined up, that if you just had a little bit of effort and walked out there and put yourself out there, you could literally be working. Hey, well, yeah, how soon can you start? Right now, my stuff's in my truck. I'll be back in just a sec. I'll put my boots on.
Well, and also, if you're looking to just roll up, like if you are somebody who, like, I used to work with a guy like this, great dude, but he would get a good job for a while. And this whenever I was landscaping. So he'd work for us part-time, whenever he had a job, but he would get a good job with good pay and he'd work hard. He was one of the hardest workers I ever met in my life. Quality worker too. But, anytime if his boss got mad at him or he got in trouble or somebody was having a bad day, he'd take his lunch break and he just wouldn't come back. That'd be it. He just, that was his thing. Yeah. And it's like, dude, you can't do that shit. Like, one, you don't want to burn a bridge. Like, if you're going to leave somewhere, if it's your time to leave, if it's your time to drag up, don't burn your bridge, because you never know when somebody's going to come back to haunt you or be in your life again. Because you might say, well, I don't ever want to come back and work for this company. Well, right now you don't, but 10 years from now, especially if you're a job jumper, like you see it, dude, I see it. And here locally, the electrical companies, dude, an electrician will jump from like company to company to company to company.
That sounds like the salespeople at the dealerships, the auto dealerships.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were over at the Ford deal. Now you're with Dodge. And dude,
equipment dealerships are like that too, man. I mean, they just bounce around to like, this guy's, this one's better. This one's better. That one's better. They're not happy at any of them.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, tells you that, hey, maybe we need a culture change at one of these companies. But they just bounce around. Well, finally, you're going to run out of options unless you just move or you just start the circuit back over. And I've seen guys do that. They've worked for every company in town 3 times, So sometimes the timing is you just got to stick it out. I mean, if it's a hard time, like, okay, for example, Victoria, like I talked about last week, she's working 13 days on, 13 hours a day, 1 day off, or really closer to 14 hours a day. So she's doing that for 2.5 months. That's a long freaking time. And you can look at that and be like, this sucks. I just want to quit. And you can quit or you can stick it through to the end of that. Just look at it, say, this is just a shitty time. Sometimes you're on a job that's like that, tight contracts, your company's pushing you over the limit, and you finally just say, you can sit there and say, man, I'm just tired of this. Or you can stick it out the last month or 2 and then get that job done and then move on to the next job. There's things like that, but don't burn your bridge, man, because that guy, your boss, he might go work for this company over here. And now you've burned that bridge and you say, oh man, I've heard this is a great company. I want to go work there. Well, now this guy that you worked with at the company that you've took a shit on his desk and left, he's going to go, I'm not fucking hiring you.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like with Victoria, I'm sure she's getting compensated well for putting in the time that she's doing.
Right.
No, but I'm getting to a point here. And my point is, dude, 80% of the time, I'll make it 85% of the time, I think with the majority of the jobs, you can kind of, not coast, but you can come in and just kind of do your job and get paid. But that last 5, 10, 15% of the time is where you need to nut down and earn your money.
Yeah.
Perfect example. We've got an issue at our elementary school with our little man right now. Principal has a situation that needs to be addressed, and it's a difficult one. But I'm sure she likes that paycheck, and the paycheck is all rosy and stuff until you have to nut down and make some difficult decisions and do your work.
Right.
And there's times to step up where you got to earn your money. That's like out where I'm at, dude. I guarantee you 85, 90% of the time, dude, it's cake. But that 10% of the time that shit hits the fan and you need to step up and make decisions, that's where you need to nut up and be a big boy.
Yeah.
Remember, hey, I get compensated well to be here, and it's time to earn my money.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good way to put that. And a lot of people don't want to, especially like now, construction companies are having to compete with the overall labor market, your Amazons, your food processing plants, your manufacturers, your all this stuff. They're competing with that. UPS, they're competing with these. So they're raising their rates way up. And like right now as a laborer in construction, you can start out making pretty good money.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like you're saying, there's times where you just got to earn that money. Like you've got to be worth what you're getting paid. And you have to remember that.
Yeah. And also make yourself valuable either while you're at your current job or in between. If you did quit or lose your job, you could either go get another job or use Facebook Marketplace or use Facebook to say, hey, be studying on the side, be listening to the audio books about a certain thing that you're passionate about, reading. Make yourself valuable to where if there's a time to do it, the time is right now.
Yeah. So that actually leads me to the next point I wanted to talk about, which is time to either upgrade or to a different job or position, or ask for a raise or a promotion or upgrade. So if you want a raise, then you need to do exactly that. If you want a promotion, if you are just a regular operator and you want to be a foreman and you want to get paid like a foreman, you have to be studying on the side. You can't just say, like, your workday doesn't end when you clock out. I mean, you got to be learning how to be a leader. You've got to be learning how to like run a job. You've got to be learning how to really be, moving material and getting things done. I mean, you have to learn those skills and you have to exhibit them before. Okay. You have to exhibit those skills before you get promoted. I have talked to people on job sites, and one of them, he wanted that foreman promotion, but he didn't want to act like a foreman. He wanted to say, I'm not a foreman. That's not my job. Oh yeah. Like one day he was running a job, and this was a place I worked years ago, and I wanted off early. And by early, I wanted off at 6:30 p.m. I said, can I get off at 6:30? I know we're working till 8 today, but do you mind? And I asked kind of the big boss. He said, well, you're going to ask your foreman that, and I won't say his name.
You have to go through the chain of command.
Let's just say his name's Mike. Well, I asked like the head guy, and he's like, I don't really care, but he said, you need to ask the foreman first. He said, go ask, I'm just going to say his name's Mike. I'm not going to say his real name, but they're like, oh, ask old Foreman Mike. I go up and I said, Foreman Mike, you care if I get off early? And he said, don't call me that. I ain't getting paid to be a foreman. Even though he was the guy running the shit that day, but that's his mentality. And, to my knowledge, I haven't talked to him in a while, but, to my knowledge, he's still not a foreman, because he thinks like that. And now he's got the skills. He's a very smart guy. And whenever he's put in that position, he can act like that. He can delegate work, but he doesn't want to act like it unless he's getting paid to. So if you want to ask for a raise or promotion, you have to exhibit that before. And you have to ask yourself, like, when it's time to ask for a raise, you can't just go in and say, hey man, I've been working here for 6 months. Am I going to get paid more or what? Like, you have to audit yourself in the mirror and say, is my timing right to ask for a raise? Am I exhibiting the skills? Have I learned enough? Do I understand? And if you're smart enough to be asking those questions, it might be time. But you also have to say, am I worth it? Is my timing worth it? Am I worth, like, let's say you're making $20 an hour and you want to make $23 an hour. That's a big raise. And you go up and you need to say, am I worth $23 an hour? If not, what else do I need to develop? Is the timing even right? Because the worst thing you can do is ask for a raise, but you're not worth it. You're not worth a raise. Because then in the future, when raise time comes up, or you want to ask again, it's going to be like, man, I'm so tired of this person asking me for a raise. I'm not giving you a fucking raise. And they're going to get real tired of you. But if you're exhibiting a lot of skills and you're valuable and you say, man, I really want a raise, otherwise I might go somewhere else, or not even give them an ultimatum, but just say, hey, I really think I'm worthy of a raise. Most of the time, an employer is going to go, man, he thinks he's worthy of a raise, and if I don't give him one, I'm going to lose him. Then if you're worth it, they might give you a little bit of a raise. So,
well, and also if you get denied the raise, then you can ask, well, what do I need to do? You can get some clear-cut answers on.
Yes.
Well, you need to be here a minimum of, a year. You need to do this, and that. Yeah. Then come back to me in a few months when it's a year.
Yeah.
And if you've done this, that good, then yes, we can.
Yeah. And that, it just all comes back to, is the timing right? If you're a new guy and you're still learning the ropes, and it's probably not time, but, you just got to really look. But if you're a new guy and you've learned the ropes fast, and in 3 months, you've gone from being zero to hero and you're doing some big boy stuff, that's when you go, hey man, I know that like you typically don't give raises this early, but like I'm now doing the same job as this guy and he's making this much and I'm making $10 an hour less than him. Like I'm not asking to be matched with him because he has more experience than I do, but you know, a little bump would really make me happy.
Well, a perfect example of that timing was whenever I was down in Norman working at Big Ed's Hamburger.
Yeah, boy.
And they started me out at cutting the fries and cleaning and all that goodie. And I said, hey, dude, I want to run the grill. And they said it was going to be like a minimum of 3 to 6 months before I could run the grill.
Yeah.
And within 2 to 3 days, they saw that I wasn't a slouch.
Yeah.
And they started me on the grill within 3 days. And the next day I was doing it during rush hour.
Mm-hmm. So I have a buddy who's really good at that too. He works in the restaurant business. In fact, when the timing works out, because he lives out of town, we're going to have him on a Tuesday episode to kind of talk about this stuff. But one of my best friends, but his mantra is like, he'll go work somewhere and he works his way up to the highest position in a restaurant. I mean, he started off at Pizza Hut. He's like the red paperclip challenge.
Yeah.
Where you start with the red paper clip and see how high you can go. He like does that, but with jobs. Like, so he started in college as Pizza Hut. He dropped out of college. He decided it wasn't for him. He was working at Pizza Hut and then he like got his way up to where he was like the manager at Pizza Hut. Well, then he went to Hideaway Pizza, which is a little bit better pizza joint. And he worked his way up to manager there. And then, or like, you know, shift or whatever not assistant manager. Like he wasn't the GM or whatever, but he worked his way up as high as he could there. And then he went and got a job at somewhere else. I don't remember where it was. And then he worked his way up there. And then he went to like P.F. Chang's, you know, chain Chinese food, you know, good quality food, learning everything he can as a chef. Worked his way up to where he even got offered the head chef job, but he didn't want to get stuck in a corporate kitchen, basically. And then now he's worked his way up and now he's going to move to Colorado and he's going to get a job at like a nice restaurant and he's just going to keep doing that. And he was making really good money before he just quit his last job. He saved up and he's just trying to figure out where he wants to go next and what he wants to do. But that's just his mantra is I'm going to work here. I'm going to invest. I'm going to work here a couple of years, work my way up to the top spot, work my ass off, learn everything I can. And then I'm going to either ask for that raise whenever I show that I'm not a slouch. Like he told me after he worked at P.F. Chang's for a couple months, he was like, dang, dude, like I really feel like I'm just outworking everybody here and yet we're all making the same money. So he goes to his head chef and the head chef said, fuck yeah, dude, $2, let's go. You know, and he's like, hell yeah, let's go. So he worked his way all the way up and like now that's just what he does, man. And then once he's to that point of I'm the biggest fish in this pond, basically, he realizes I need to go somewhere else where I'm the smallest fish again and I can work my way up to an even better spot, which is pretty cool.
It's cool for experience, but I don't see, does he plan on opening his own restaurant or what is he?
Yeah. I mean, he wants to be like a professional chef.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
And
perfect.
So that's what he's going.
That's good.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to bounce around, but like he'll work somewhere for a couple of years as too. Like even if it sucks, he grinds through it for a couple of years and gets as high as he can. And once he gets stagnant, basically, that's whenever he kind of looks at going to the next deal. But eventually he's either wants to chef in like a very high end place or he wants to have his own place kind of thing. So,
and that,
which that kind of deal obviously different than construction, but he just wants to get as much chefing experience as he can.
That's good to be competitive. You know, there's a lot of jobs to where we need people who are happy in their position and will never promote. Mm-hmm. I mean, we need those people.
Oh yeah.
But there's something to be said about sports. If you're in any type of competitive thing, it can be anything competitive. The marching band competing against other marching bands at state or, you know, competitive, even playing Fortnite again. You don't want to lose. And if you go through these years of just wanting to be the best at whatever you're trying to do, that can translate well into the workforce too.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to be the low guy on the totem pole here, man. That's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
What do I got to do? A lot of times you don't have to ask. You can look around and know to grab the shovel and know where to stand and know where to rock and roll.
Yeah, just common sense there. But yeah, dude, so that's kind of where we're at there. You know, and another one is when you have to fire somebody, if you're in that leadership position, Dude, I'm just going to tell you right now, and the next topic I want to do, and I've been thinking a lot about this one, is getting the right people on your crew. Whether that means you have to cut some people because everybody's, man, we just need hands, we just need bodies, we just need people. But you want to weed out the bad people. Like, I know that you think you can't do it without them because you just need bodies, but if you have bad eggs in there, they're going to bring your whole operation down. They're going to make everybody else want to quit. They're going to lower morale. So if you have a guy that, he's always late and everybody else is on time, everybody's waiting on him, you have a guy that doesn't do quality work and you're always having to go back and fix his mistakes, or he's just an asshole. But he might even be very talented, or she, might be very talented, but they're just assholes and they're not fun to work with, and they're not like, they just drain everybody's energy. I've worked with several people like this, man. And even if they're good at what they do, or they're just a body on the field like a lot of people want, eventually your good guys are going to say, dude, I'm tired of being here, because they're just tired of working with those types of people.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, if you don't weed them out, those good guys will band together, kind of like, have you seen primates or wolves or tigers, to where they'll all band up against the asshole other primate, gorilla, or the other tigers that are being assholes, and they'll rip them apart. They'll either put them in place or they'll rip them apart to where they're dead and they're out of there.
Yeah.
So your good guys on the crew that are running the shit, if a lot of times if management won't take care of it, they'll start shitting in his lunchbox a few times and driving his ass out of there.
Well, or they'll just say, dude, I'm getting tired of this job. They may not even realize the source, but they'll start getting their foot out the door.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to when we talk about management needs to be aware of the pulse of the guys around them. They need to be aware of that stuff. You don't need to know every single thing, but
they need to have their ear to the ground that, hey, is this guy draining everybody? Okay, it might be time to get rid of him. Yeah. And that's where culture is important too. I mean, like, if you think that, like, if you see some of that, that may be time to have a cultural reform, because if you have the right culture and you have the right set of people and you get the right people on your team, again, I'm not going to deep dive on this right now, but, they will automatically weed themselves out a lot of times, because they, like, for one, you weed them out in the hiring process, a lot of them. But let's say they get past the hiring process. They seem cool. They seem like a cultural fit. You think that they're going to be very compatible with your crew. Well, they get out there and they're just not. That's where you either have to make that quick decision of, all right, I got to fire this person. They passed the vibe check and the pre-stuff, and now we're seeing their true colors. They're just not a good fit here. They're draining my crew, and my crew is less efficient because of them. Even though we have one more body on the field, my crew is less efficient because of them. You have to make that quick decision, or they're going to come work for a couple weeks and they're going to say, man, this place ain't for me, because that crew has expectations and that crew has demands of, this is how we do work here. And this person shows up and they can't meet those expectations and demands, and they just say, I'm out, I'm done.
Yeah.
So that's very important. And maybe you're in that point of changing your culture. Well, I just want to tell you, if you want help with that, if you want to figure out how to do that, some of you have already reached out to me, especially after the Friday episode I did last week, where it was just me and we talked about gain, train, retain. I've had several reach out and worked with a few of y'all so far. Feel free to send us an email, or connect with us on our website, dirtyandriven.com. We'll help you figure that out. And then I just want to hit two more quick little points and we'll wrap this thing up. One of them is time to go out on your own, man. We talked about quitting your job to go work for somebody else, but maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe it's construction. Maybe it's some other form of business. That's a scary leap to make, because you right now have security, you have paycheck, you have benefits. But timing wise, a lot of times there's never a good time to start your own business unless, like, you just get laid off and you need to go do something. But, like, let's say you have a job. It's okay. It's decent. I think this is what kills a lot of people when it comes to starting their own business. They have a job. They have a paycheck, they have benefits, they're comfortable, they've got a family. Like, on paper, everything's great. Hunky-dory, they don't hate their job, but they may long for something a little bit more, and they want to start their own business. a lot of people never do because they're afraid to make that jump and they're afraid that the timing's not right. Well, I just want to tell you, brother, the timing ain't always going to be right. Okay. But you have to look and you have to realistically tell yourself like, okay, why does the timing not feel right? Is it because I'm afraid I'm not going to have customers? Well, there's such a shortage for construction in this area, or I've got clients lined up already with some of the side work I do. I know that I can make it. Okay. Well, so I should be good. I should be able to handle my work. Is the timing not right because you don't have the equipment and tools necessary? Well, okay. Why don't you, while you have a job, go ahead and start buying some of that stuff, financing some of that stuff, and then doing work on the side, getting maybe you need a pickup and a skid steer of your own. Just go out and start doing that. Well, dude, go get you a loan, start paying that off, work it on the weekends. And then once you get a few jobs lined up, then you quit your job to go do your thing full time. The timing's never going to be perfect. And I also just want to encourage you that if you want to start your own business, the number one thing that I hear is like, whenever somebody says, and this isn't statistical or anything, but this is just like whenever I hear someone say, man, I really want to start my own business, there's always some other person that sits there and says, well, you don't want to quit your job. You're making good money. And what about your insurance? Do you know how many businesses haven't been started because somebody's afraid of losing their freaking insurance? Dude, you can go and get your own insurance plan for you and your family, or if your wife works, get on hers. Like, you can do that. And so if you think that if that's what's holding you up timing wise, look into your options and then go out, and I encourage you to do it. And, again, be open, honest with your current employer. Just say, hey man, I think I'm going to go into business for myself. Here's my plan. If you need to wait to hire someone to replace me, then all right, I'll give you a month, 2 months, if you're cool with them. Or you give me your 2 weeks, say I'm going to serve my 2 weeks out and then I'm starting my own business. Just want to let you know, I've got a skid steer and a truck and I'm ready to go to work. And, sometimes they might even hire you to do some of their small stuff. So, timing's never going to be perfect. Everybody's always going to look at the economy and go, shit, man, the economy this, the economy that. But sometimes the timing's not good and you've just got to take the leap.
You got to jump in deep too. I mean, if you're going to peel off and do it, it can't just be a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
You got to make things happen.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at on timing, man.
They say one thing too is, if you have your side hustle to where maybe you want it to be your main hustle, your side hustle meaning separate from your primary job. Once your money on that side hustle obviously starts to outgain your primary hustle.
People always say that, but I feel like that rarely ever happens like that.
Oh, it can. Yeah. I mean, I was super close there with my spraying gig.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going all out. I wasn't even advertising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could only imagine if I would have put forth the effort to make contacts and hopefully get some contracts. Hey, contacts and contracts. Mm-hmm. But I know just in my situation, if I put forth the effort, now that could be with health-wise too. Yeah. I know that I've only given this much percentage of effort.
Yeah.
What could happen if I actually just doubled that percentage of effort?
Yeah.
Where could I be? I know.
Well, that's the thing, dude. It's like starting a side hustle and like saying, I want this to be my main gig. Some people don't want it to be their main gig. Like I talked to one of our biggest supporters of the show a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me about how he's got his side gig. And he goes, yeah, dude, I make really good money at it. He said, I don't really plan to take it full time. He said, I've got a job where I do basically the same thing. And then it's a real specialized deal. And then he said, but there's small jobs that are also in this specialty niche that our company doesn't want to do because they're just small. And he said, I go do them on the side. And he's like, I work here. He's like, I work 8-10 hours a day here. I go work 2-3 hours for myself. And I'm happy doing that. Yeah. And he said, every now and then, if I get backlogged, I'll take some vacation, go do it. And he said, I make good money. I got plenty of vacation time. I get good, I get the benefits from this job. Like he goes, I could take mine full time. And he said, I'd make just as much, if not more money. He said, but I just don't want to. He said, I like the gig I have. He said, if I ever get laid off or forced into it, or like maybe when I retire, he said, yeah, I'll consider doing it full time. But he said, right now, this is what I want. And that's cool. That's where you're at in your time of your life. Some people don't want the stress of owning a business, and that's fine, dude.
Yeah, it's all situational too. Like one deal situational with me, you know, my age, where my family is and all that goody. I've been with this company for quite a while. One thing that kind of keeps me still hanging out there is the worry of if I did roll up and quit and start my own gig, and if I started my own gig and got hurt on day one, because right now, you know, I've got short-term disability, long-term. I've also got it to where short-term to where if I am down and out for however much long, I still have a job to come back to regardless. But if I stepped away and did something physical, you know, there's all these like little deals hanging over me.
There's always what ifs. That's why the timing's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, there's what ifs. But I'm kind of like, I guess who you said you talked to a couple of weeks ago, to where got my primary gig, but I got a lot of stuff on the side that totally happy to where, you know.
That's what it's about.
That's my thing.
And I guess the original point I was going to make is like, dude, a lot of people say, well, you want your side gig to be making more money than your main gig. Dude, sometimes like there's certain things like the Dirty and Driven project, for example. I mean, right now it's my side gig. But it's going to be impossible for me to outweigh my main gig unless I were to just quit my main gig and start doing this full time.
Well, I think just a couple more $100 donations, you might be able to roll up.
Yeah. Put $1 in the tip jar.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, it's not, I can't do it unless I were to have more time and effort. And some people are like that too. Like if you work a construction job and you're working 60 hours a week already for a main job, but you're trying to start your own dirt work business on the side, you can make good money and you can probably get pretty close to what you make hourly. But I mean, if you're only working a couple hours a day and maybe a few hours on the weekends, you're probably not going to match you're not going to be able to hit 60 hours a week doing what you're doing. You're not going to be able to go knock out all these jobs, but you can make more money per hour. But unless you really quit your job and start doing it full time, you're not probably going to be able to do that. But you can build your clientele and build up your work log and then say, all right, I have this much work to go do. Now I have the potential, but I don't know. Everyone's different in that.
Yeah. Or when you're looking to roll up while you're doing those construction jobs, talk to all them clients at your current construction job and let them know you're getting ready to quit. Then when you quit, you pull all them clients that you talk to, you steal them all. And hopefully you didn't have a no compete clause whenever you started your own business. That way you can rob all of them current clients.
Dude. Okay. I'm going to tell the story and then I'm done. We're at an hour 22. So, that happened on a pretty big scale here. I'm not going to say any company names.
I'm sure it happens all the time.
But there was an asphalt company. Well, dude, no, there was an asphalt company that was big. I mean, one of the bigger producers in the state. A little sketchy. Well, they got bought out by an even bigger company, real big company. Basically, this big company, which is owned by a global company. They got companies all over the world. They buy out this guy with their local branch, basically so they buy out the competition. Well, they signed a non-compete with this guy, but they signed a non-compete with the direct owner of that company, but his dad was also involved. So they go and they buy another asphalt plant, start another company. They just put it in his dad's name. So they just worked around it.
That's a workaround, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, dude, but this was kind of funny.
I thought about a workaround too at my current place of employment, you know, because I had my spraying gig and I couldn't spray for my current employer as a contractor, right? Because, you know, that's a conflict of interest, you know? So I thought about my workaround would be, well, I'll just go get with one of these third-party contractors that does contracting work for them, for the refinery or the pipeline. And I'll just subcontract underneath them.
Yep.
That's my workaround, but I haven't done it because it's gray area, sketchy. Yeah. And then, you know, if I roll up to the same, I keep saying roll up, but if I roll up to the same place where I work, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm here to spray your weeds. I don't know. Dude, well, I'm working for old so-and-so, you know, the contractor that's, you know, green here. Why?
It gets sketchy.
Yeah. It's a workatround, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I don't know. Guys, if you got value out of this, if you enjoyed the conversation, if you laughed, if it encouraged you to go carve a furry into somebody's nice leather couch, leave us a 5-star review. Those reviews help us grow. We've been hitting some charts lately. Not that I really care about charts and rankings, but it's cool. We've been just steady growing every single month, and that's because you guys share the show and you guys leave us reviews. So every time you do that, every time you share it to your story, you post it online, I'm just very appreciative of that. So keep it coming. And then if you really like it, consider dropping a little money in the tip jar. It's safe, secure. It's through PayPal. You can find it in the show notes or in our Insta bio. Just the tip. You can put as little as $1 in and as much as you want in. So anyways, guys, appreciate you listening. And I hope you guys have a killer week. Casey, you got any final thoughts?
No, sir.
All right, guys. Well, do something hard today.
By God.